आज 29 जून सन 1984 हम मराठी रंगमंच के सुप्रसिद्ध अभिनेता श्री मोहन आगाशे से बातचीत रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं। मोहन, हमें बड़ी खुशी है कि अपने इन प्रदर्शनों के बीच में से भी तुम समय निकाल सके और यहाँ आ सके और हम लोग थोड़ी बातचीत कर सकेंगे। तुमसे पिछली बार भी जब तुम यहाँ आए थे जनवरी में, तब थोड़ी सी बातचीत हुई थी और तुमको शायद उस समय फॉर्म दिया था। यहाँ कलकत्ता में एक छोटी सी संस्था की शुरुआत की है, नाट्य शोध संस्थान। अपने यहाँ अभी तक डॉक्यूमेंटेशन का काम बहुत कम हुआ है। हम भारतीय लोग तो इसमें विश्वास करते रहे हैं कि अपने बारे में खुद कुछ कहो मत, और दूसरे जल्दी से हमारे बारे में कहते नहीं। और ख़ास करके नाटक के क्षेत्र में जो नाट्य दल काम कर रहे हैं या अभिनेता निर्देशक काम कर रहे हैं, उनके बारे में तो विवरण और भी कम मिलता है। अच्छा, और उनका जो परफॉर्मेंस है, उनकी बात है, वो उनके साथ ख़त्म हो जाती है। लेखक की किताबें तो रह जाती हैं, आप सदियों सदियों तक उन किताबों को पढ़ सकते हैं, निर्णय कर सकते हैं, मगर निर्देशकों और अभिनेताओं के कामों को तो आप कल देख सकते हैं, अनुभव कर सकते हैं। तो इसलिए भी उनका कोई रिकॉर्ड बाद में रह पाना बड़ा कठिन होता है। तो इसीलिए हम लोग एक चेष्टा कर रहे हैं, जो नहीं हुआ वो नहीं हुआ, मगर कम से कम इस समय जो लोग काम कर रहे हैं यहाँ से तो एक शुरुआत हो और लोगों के बारे में हम प्रामाणिक विवरण नाट्य शोध संस्थान में रख सकें। पिछले 3 वर्षों में काम हुआ है, बहुत कम काम हुआ ऐसा हम नहीं कहेंगे, काम हुआ है। इंटरव्यूज़ रिकॉर्ड किए हैं, लोगों के बारे में फॉर्म भेजा है, कर रहे हैं। तो चूँकि फॉर्म तो तुमको भेजा था और उसमें तुम्हारा एक बायोडाटा तो हमारे पास है, उसमें जो भी और जोड़ना होगा जोड़ देना, नहीं तो उसी को हम फॉर्म के साथ लगा करके और हम रख देंगे। मगर हम तुमसे बातचीत रिकॉर्ड करना चाह रहे हैं ताकि और खुल करके थोड़ी नाटक के बारे में बातचीत हो सके। सबसे पहले हम शुरुआत करना चाहेंगे कि तुम्हारा जन्म कब हुआ, कहाँ हुआ, किन परिस्थितियों में तुम्हारा बचपन बीता, और थिएटर की ओर तुम्हारा लगाव कैसे बना। हमें ये भी मालूम है कि पेशे से तुम साइकियाट्रिस्ट हो, डॉक्टर हो, और उसको तुम थिएटर को तुम थिएटर और थेरेपी और साइको एनालिसिस, या क्या उसको तुम कहना चाहोगे वो तुम बताना, उसको तुम कैसे दोनों को जोड़ना चाह रहे हो, ये सब जानना चाहेंगे। मगर उसके पहले थोड़ी सी सीधी सादी तुम्हारी बात और नाटक की बात।
मेरा जन्म हुआ है 23 जुलाई को 1947।
अच्छा, 47। तो अभी तुम्हारा मैंने जन्मदिन बीता है 23 जुलाई
अभी है, आने वाला है।
ओह सॉरी,
23 जुलाई।
हाँ।
और वो हुआ है, एक भूर नाम का संस्थान था।
अच्छा।
जब संस्थान के पहले पूना के नज़दीक 30 मील दूर भूर संस्थान में मेरा जन्म हुआ था।
अच्छा।
जहाँ की मेरे
मोहर
नहीं भूर
BHOR। अच्छा, भूर। अच्छा,
30 माइल्स फ्रॉम भूर।
अच्छा।
जहाँ के मेरे दादाजी काम करते थे।
अच्छा।
और वहाँ से पैदा होने के बाद 1 साल के बाद ही मैं पुणे आया।
अच्छा।
और तब से लेके आज तक मैं पुणे गया। तो मेरी सब पाठशाला, मेरा मेडिकल कॉलेज का ट्रेनिंग, मेरा नाटक का लगाव सब पुणे में हुआ।
अच्छा, तो नाटक का क्या परिवार में तुम्हारे लोग नाटक में इंटरेस्टेड थे?
ये तो मैं पहले नहीं, जब मैं मोटा हुआ तब मैं जानता हूँ कि मेरी माँ जो है वो तो अनपढ़ है अभी, वो 7वीं कक्षा वर्नाक्युलर फाइनल कहते थे उसको, इतनी ही सीखी थी। लेकिन जहाँ तक मैं जानता हूँ वो नाटक में काम करती थी।
अच्छा।
और मेरे ख्याल से शायद एक पारंपरिक स्त्री होने के नाते उसको आगे मौका नहीं मिला, तो वो काम नहीं कर पाई।
अच्छा।
लेकिन आज भी मैं जानता हूँ कि वो कितना नाटक और फिल्म्स को चाहती है।
अच्छा।
और बिल्कुल बहुत बड़ा होने को, मेडिकल कॉलेज पास करने के बाद मुझे पता चला कि जब भी मैं स्कूल जाता था और मेरे पिताजी ऑफिस जाते थे तब ये दोपहर फिल्म को जाती थी।
अच्छा। अच्छा।
और जैसे मेरे ध्यान में आया और मैं नाटक में काम करने लगा, मैंने ये कोशिश रखी है कि कोई अच्छा नाटक आए, कोई अच्छी फिल्म आए तो मैं ज़रूर उसको दिखाता हूँ।
अच्छा, तो वो माँ तुम्हारी कहाँ काम करती थी, नाटक में या फिल्म में?
वो स्कूल में काम करती थी। तो वो ज़माना भी ऐसा था कि ऐसी कोई ग्रुप नहीं था कि या कोई नाट्य संस्था नहीं थी कि जिसमें वो काम करती थी। जहाँ तक उनका ताल्लुक था स्कूल में, लड़कियाँ मिल के स्कूल के ड्रामे में ही
अच्छा
वो काम करती थी।
अच्छा।
और ये भी मुझे बहुत देरी से पता चला कि वो काम करती थी जब मैंने पूछा उसको।
अच्छा।
क्योंकि मैंने पूछा इसलिए कि वो जब मेरे ध्यान में है वो बहुत नाटक देखती है, वो कोई भी किसी तरह का नाटक देखती है उसमें से कोई बोलती नहीं ज़्यादा, वो विवेचन नहीं करती उसका, लेकिन देखना ज़रूर पसंद करती है, और बुरा है या अच्छा है इसके सिवा और कुछ नहीं बोलती।
अच्छा।
फिर भी मैंने पूछा ये कैसे आया, तो वो काम करती थी।
अच्छा।
और ज़माना ऐसा था कि वो कोई काम करने जा नहीं सकती थी या ऐसी कोई संस्था नहीं थी जो को उत्तेजन दे दे। आजकल सांस्कृतिक कार्य संवर्धन के लिए बहुत सारे लोग यत्न पूर्वक कष्ट कर रहे हैं, ऐसा कोई नहीं था। शादी के बाद सब मामला चौपट हो गया, और शादी के बाद तो एक तो बेचारी बीमार हो गई, ट्यूबरकुलोसिस हो गया मेरे जन्म के बाद, तो वो अस्पताल में रही 1 साल तक। और उस ज़माने में ऐसा डर भी रहता था कि अगर ट्यूबरकुलोसिस की बीमारी हो जाए तो बोल नहीं सकते, मर्द छोड़ भी दिया जाए। बट माई फादर वॉज वेरी वार्म हार्टेड, वेरी नाइस, वेरी लविंग person I met in my entire life, and a lot of my credit goes to him. The way he has treated me, the way he has trusted me, the way he has loved me.
He is still there?
No, he died in this January.
Oh, this January?
This January, 84. Actually, it was right from school to now. He never said no if I wanted to do anything.
And it makes such a lot of difference.
It makes a lot of difference.
Because
he did not force anything onto me. He did not demand anything out of me. So he automatically gets love without any expectation. So that is my blend also. So my liking for theatre does come from my mother, I think. But also there was no planned decision that I would opt for theatre. I would be. There is a particular age when generally one wants to be engine driver, and then one wants to be pilot, then one wants to be in the army, and one does go through those kind of phases of development. And by the time you finish your school, whatever profession is respected by them, you opt for it, or you try to make an effort. Like 20 years before I passed my matriculation, the professions respected were lawyer and engineers. When I passed it was medical and engineering. So obviously the choice was limited between two. And since I did take good care to maintain a sufficient standard, not very high, but just to get into the profession I wanted to, I got into medical college. And actually from medical college, I developed my serious interest into theatre. Till then I was doing theatre very regularly as one of the extracurricular activities.
In the school?
In the school. I used to do lots of things. I used to participate in European, in dramatics, in kho-kho, in Atapata.
What is Atapata?
Atapata is another Maharashtrian sport.
That there must be something equal in our side also. But
Probably
maybe
yes.
That the name is different.
Name is different, probably, yes. So I used to, and I was picked up by one teacher, actually, who just caught me by my neck in the intermission and said, come to my house this evening, we are going to rehearse the play. So I was quite thrilled, and I went and asked my father, this is what the teacher says. And just because probably teacher asked me, it was granted. And later on, one of our senior supervisors of the school, who was a friend of my father also, came and asked me whether I would act in their institution, which is another very renowned theatre group of Pune, Maharashtrian Kalakar. Not these days, but once upon a time it was very renowned. And this senior supervisor of my school was one of the founder members of that group. And since the senior supervisor was demanding, I started acting from childhood actually in the regular theatre.
So yes, So,
But that time it was a hobby. I used to like it, so I used to do it. I never thought about it seriously.
but it's quite strange to note that in regular theatre group, you were asked to act
Yes,
at that age.
at that age. And the first thing I did was Rabindranath Tagore's play.
Acha,
One is Janma Shatabdi.
acha. Was that used to be children's play or a
No, this was
regular
adult play.
adult play?
Especially in this company where I worked first,
Hmm.
was adult company. It's a regular amateur theatre company.
Do you remember the year?
Oh, yes, that was in 1960.
1960. Acha,
61,
that is
61.
61, and that 61 was the Tagore
Tagore centenary.
centenary year.
And we did Dagghar.
Acha. So that was at the age of 13, 14.
Yeah, that's right.
You must have been 14.
And then I joined children's theatre. So that was my first play which I did outside, which I enjoyed. Then I joined children's theatre. That time Sai Paranspe and Arun Zolekar were in Pune, before they joined NSD actually.
Acha.
And they were running children's theatre, which was extremely popular then in Pune.
What must be the age of Sai that they were
Oh, she was
running the-
hardly 20, I think,
at that
1920.
time? Acha. So
She was
just a
very
few
good.
years elder to you.
That's right.
Hmm.
And she was also on All India Radio, running a children's program, Balodya.
Acha.
And on the side, she was running this theatre.
Hmm.
And she had written some excellent children's plays.
Acha.
One of them was Patte Nagri, which is about the cards.
Acha. Acha. Patte Nagri.
Patte Nagri.
Hmm.
Second was Shifty Sa Shop
Acha.
and the Pakshan Se Kavi Sammelan.
अच्छा पक्षियों का कवि सम्मेलन
सम्मेलन।
अच्छा
And it was a very interesting play, which were loved by children. And we all loved to act in it.
अच्छा
And she was a very good taskmaster.
अच्छा tell me another thing, were those regular plays with dialects in prose
Yes.
or musicals or
There was
drama?
musical also.
हाँ
There were songs in it.
हाँ
Very simple songs like एक दो तीन चार एक दो तीन चार एक दो तीन चार गाने गाओ मजेदार very simple like a poem in school but very nice. Still I remember that song from that play because the first children's film before even Children's Film Society came into existence
हाँ
was made on this play
अच्छा
directed by Vinay Gai.
अच्छा
Immediately that was when I was in my matriculation.
अच्छा
So those 2 years, then I was also associated with children's theatre.
अच्छा
And that's how gradually my involvement, my time, which I used to spend for theatre, started making demands on me. So as I entered my pre-medical years, I was doing my swimming also, and I was doing my plays, and I obviously neglected my studies because in my matriculate, I got 80% and I was a national scholar.
अच्छा
So suddenly I established my reputation in my house as being the brightest boy of the family. And I did so many extravagant things in my first year of college that I lost my class. And I recovered from that jolt in this pre-medical year exactly so that I could get into medical. Because that was the surest way again of establishing myself in my house.
Yes.
That was the only expectation of parents, especially all middle class parents, because generally the fathers don't get an opportunity to study because of family reasons, family crisis. So all their desires are projected onto their children, and they make such strenuous efforts only to see that their children are well educated. That I
well
realized
educated and the way and they wanted to.
they wanted.
And the lines that they wanted, they would have opted for in their life. They want that desire to be fulfilled through the children.
Absolutely correct. And if you realize the gravity of such a projection and what it means to them, and if you have a little bit of respect for it, then I think it really runs smooth in the family. So I could maintain that, and I got into medical college. So obviously, after getting into medical college, the time demand was very much divided by medical studies, and I couldn't pursue so many extracurricular activities. So I had to really opt out of swimming, water polo, and so I stick to theatre. And that's where I met Jabbar for the first time, where we formed a very wonderful group of 10 people actually. Jabbar, myself, Dr. Vatwe, Dr. Panwalkar, Dr. Meena Puranik, Sucheta Rangnekar, So very integrated, very talented group. And for 4 years, we did number of plays together. And with his
was this
skills-
under the banner of Theatre Academy?
No, it was under the banner of BJ Medical College.
Acha.
That time, Jabbar used to act in Progressive Dramatic Association.
So you all were classmates or
But
at the
senior,
college?
junior.
Senior, junior.
Jabbar is 4 years senior to me.
Acha.
And Vatve is 1 year senior to me. And Suchita is from my batch. And Meena is from my batch. So 4 of my batchmates, 4 of Dr. Vatve's batchmates, and 2 of Jabbar's batchmates. We all formed a group, which lasted for 4 years. Because though he passed his MBBS, during internship and first few years, immediately afterwards, because they are doing their post-graduation, that way they remain in the physical proximity of the college. And he was always interested. In fact, it is after him that I know what a serious interest in theatre is of a person. It doesn't come from books, it has to come from written. And I must say that was a great influence. And later on, one of our friends who was not in medical college, but who was almost a part of our group, was Satish Aleki, the famous playwright, who then, that time was probably apprenticeshipping in Progressive Dramatic Association. So, in my final year of college, actually, I joined, along with others, Progressive Dramatic Association. There Jabbar used to go. And we almost formed a separate group of young people there, study group, where Jabbar used to read a Stanislavski. Till then, a theatre study was very unknown to me. Theatre was the only place for me where one goes and acts to the best of one's ability. That's all. But any systematic study of theatre being done, this man knowing about it, though he was also in medical college, it certainly had its impressions on us. And we did follow. And then we did a play for state competition, Panchi Aise Aate Hain, directed by Jabbar, which actually banked all the prizes at the state level.
And that was in the year?
That was in the year 1969.
You were 22 by then.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes, 22. And
Which role you did in that play?
I did father.
Father.
The same role which I play in Musafir also now. The film based on.
And who did
Abu Sarmai was done by Jabbar.
Acha.
I think that was his last acting assignment. That was the last role he played.
He hasn't acted after that?
After that he hasn't acted.
Oh.
The role he played before that in number of plays, Tuveda Kumar and Magician. He was a very good actor.
Acha. Why has he left acting, by the way?
I think it's also demand one has to make a choice. Yes. And one gets absorbed naturally towards a particular thing. Acting, he left gradually and got more interested in direction. And so we did that show for almost 2 years. Every Saturday, Sunday there was a show. And it's 120 shows.
Acha.
And we had to stop that show to rehearse Ghashira. Because it was not possible to do shows also and to rehearse also. Because that time, now that was precisely the time during my internship when I started having serious doubts about my profession. Because I wanted to do my post-graduation only in psychiatry and not in any other subject. And I was not very sure whether I will get my residency. That's the minimum eligibility for post-graduation in that subject, because there was only one post and I was not highest. And so I started having alternate thoughts, and which even meant to an extent of going to the Film Institute, meeting Mr. Murthy and asking him whether I should join Film Institute. But that didn't last long, that phase. Within a month it was over because I got my residency in psychiatry. And having got the subject which I wanted, then I decided to stick to it. And that was the time during my residency that we started Ghashiram. Actually, when Ghashiram rehearsals were started, I was doing my residency in medicine, where one needs to be there. Thanks to my colleagues, my co-registrar and co-houseman and my boss, who looked after my work from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. That was the rehearsal time.
9 to 2?
9 to 2. Jabbar used to come by 8 o'clock, train, And by that time he had started practicing Daud at his dispensary. So he used to come from Daud. And his train for going back was at 2:30.
Okay, you write it, you are pronouncing it Dawn.
Daud.
Dawn.
Dawn.
Dauna.
Dawn.
D-A-U-N, if you want to.
The way it is
In
spelled
Marathi.
in English is D-H-O-N-D.
Acha.
Dawn.
Dawn.
But actually it should be D-H-A-U-N.
Acha.
D.
Acha.
Dawn.
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 Acha.
And the train for him to go back to Dawn was at 2:30 in the morning.
Oh. Acha.
So we used to rehearse till 2 o'clock. Then both of us used to come back.
That must
He used
have
to
been
go to the
extremely-
station and I used to go to Sassan Hospital where I was working.
That must have been extremely tiring, and I don't know how could
No,
you.
but one was very young then. One never realized
Yes.
this kind of things at all. Because actually then I used to take the round and sleep at about 3 o'clock.
And how the others used
Get
to.
Well, everybody managed the same way because, but that time really more than half of them were students.
Acha.
They didn't have picked up the careers. Except one or two people were in the bank and two of architects and one engineer. Otherwise the rest of us were students. And that 3 months I do remember not a single day when we returned from the rehearsal to station in the rickshaw, not a single day Jabbar spoke on anything else but the play. And today when I find people getting together for rehearsal and at 6 o'clock if the rehearsal finishes, they immediately start talking on some other subjects or criticizing somebody on what we should do, where we should go to eat, that kind of thing. But Jabbar, I thought he was completely obsessed by this play. And there was not a day in which he would speak on anything else. Like what your studies are doing, or is it all right with your boss? Nothing. He would constantly say, "How was that scene all right? Was the step all right? Or we should change the rhythm? Or do you think who would play that? Brahmin. It's a very important sequence."
Does he teach the rhythm himself, or there is somebody else to teach the movement?
No, we had the choreographer.
Choreographer.
We had one Mr. Mulgun, who was a dance teacher in a school.
Acha.
And Bhaskar was there. But the thing which happened at Kashiram, which rarely I think would happen after one has a lot of name, is everything was done on spot. Except the first part of invocation which Bhaskar composed in his house for us and which we rehearsed longest for 20 days.
Acha.
Rest of the things were improvised and developed on the spot in the rehearsal room, where Bhaskar would not mind changing the tunes 3 or 4 times, nor Mr. Mulgun would mind changing his steps. According to what Jabbar's concept, Jabbar used to give them a concept, this is what I want to do, and can you show me some steps? And he said, no, I think that step should be a bit more aggressive, or a bit more smooth and wavy, something like that. And he would choose a particular step which he would like most. And then Bhaskar would try to give music which will suit that choreographic movement. Or sometimes it was reverse. Jabbar would come with a tune. But this kind of tune which I would like, which is very rustic, like Yerkot. Mallari Maza Mallari, Mallari Maza Mallari. He said, that kind of atmosphere I want, that kind of, can you have steps for that? So it was really what would suit the occasion, what he had in mind. He had the total structure of the play in his mind. And so everything had to be molded according to his concept. It was not 3 people having 3 original ideas of production, right, one direction. And so a lot of things were, for Kashiram, were done on the spot. And unfortunately now this recording system, if one was to record those rehearsals, then what is missing today is that process. No, whatever either I'll write or Satish will write or Jabbar will write about his production case book or whatever it is would be very subjective. But what would be the matter of fact is how actually a particular scene develops. Even one scene, so how 10 times, because it's extremely boring when now one writes a production case book, one makes it very interesting. But actually the process creativity is extremely boring to the person who is not involved in it. Because you get stuck at a particular point and then you are there for 3 hours, 4 hours, sometimes 2 days, 3 days, not knowing how to solve it. And suddenly the riddle is solved, and then you go ahead. That kind, like my entry in Gashira. It came suddenly after rehearsing about number of 5 or 6 varieties of steps with different tunes. And suddenly it came by a matter of accident, I think, and we were like, this is the right one. So it was happening, and everybody was enjoying it. Because nobody has done this kind of a thing before. So nobody was worried what was going to happen to it, whether it was going to success. Nobody was doing a play for success. Nobody was doing a play for any image. Nobody was doing a play for any already built up reputation. One was enjoying what one was doing. And one continued to enjoy it for 3 months.
3 months. So it took 3 months.
3 months solid rehearsals.
Solid rehearsals.
Right.
Every day. And since then.
Since then I have been. Then there was this big dispute and controversy about Gashiram and finding that excuse what kind of play should be done, should not be done. And there was obviously a generation gap. The former president of Progressive Dramatic Association did not approve of us doing play like Gashiram or even Mahanirvan.
Who was the...
That was Mr. Bhalbake. A very renowned theatre person himself who had done a lot of... Bhalba Kelkar.
Oh, yes.
He was contemporary of Ranga in Progressive Theatre Academy. He had done Bangarwadi and Veda Sugarnath, number of things. He's pioneer, founder member of Progressive Dramatic Association. And in his young age, he had done contributory work to theatre. But now there was a kind of a split. And so instead of he resigning from the group, we all resigned. And we went together to form in Theatre Academy. So that's how Theatre Academy was formed by us in 1973, March.
1973 March.
27th of March. That's World Theatre Day. We formed.
And so what other plays you did after...
After Gashiram, immediately in 73, I did Satish's play Mickey and Memsa. Then in 76, I did...
That is again a musical or a regular play?
No, it's a regular play.
Regular play.
It's kind of an abstract play, which is based on conflict between intellectual and sexual dominance between a couple. And then I did Sleuth in 76. Then I acted in Three Penny Opera as Sutrada, the character which is not in Brecht's play, but which is in P.L. Deshpande's version. Then I acted in Begum Barve, another Satish's play. And then I have done one play with iron tune, that is Hawa Andhara Kavasa.
Which acting in which play have you enjoyed most?
I think probably I have enjoyed acting in Gashiram, no doubt. But from actor's point of view, from the play point of view, I still enjoy Gashiram. But what came as a challenge was a role in Sleuth, role in Mickey and Memsa. But there was diversity, there was versatility of emotions when I did this play. And it puts yourself to some stress and strain, which Gashiram also did in the beginning.
But after that it became very smooth and you just go on doing it.
Even now I find, because if you have to sustain your interest in a play, you have for your own working out, you still have to find out the nuances, which may not reach the audience at all. They don't reach the audience. Because I know sometimes we feel the show is terrible, but very few members of the audience realize the show was terrible. The basic structure probably of the play is so impressive that the first time anybody visualizing that play is so taken aback by that basic structure. Probably if he sees it again and again, then he would realize the same. Which happens to us, because we have done it number of times. We know exactly what synchronization is, what kind of rhythm one catches, what tempo one should develop, at what point, how it would go to a climactic situation to a particular dance movement. And if that doesn't occur, then one feels terribly perturbed and disturbed and upset, actually. And so one has to find out devices for oneself to retain the freshness of the character and the balance of the character. And it's very subtle. It's like one very subtle pause which you work out. Like I'll quote you an example. There is a sentence in which Gashiram says, "What is difficult for Nana?" If he says, "This is east," the whole Pune would say, "This is east." So it's not difficult for you to make me kotwa.
And why don't you say it in Marathi?
He says, "Nanas काय कठीण? Nana म्हणतील ते पूर्व होईल यापुढे." Then I used to say immediately, "But tell me some other way." Now I did not work out that pause initially at all. This pause has been worked out after about 5 years. Then I suddenly realized the potential of the scene, how tense, because he has come to a final point that this is it. You make me Kotwal or not. And I am still making my last effort to pursue it. So when he throws that sentence, that Nana, you are so powerful that you decide the directions in this city, I smiled. Then I walked up to him very coolly, looked at him directly into his face, and from a very low tone I said, "Can you suggest me something else?" And that gets an applause on that, which was never there because I had never thought of it. Now these kind of very subtle pauses, looks, angles, these are the finer words. This is like a design after you have circled the basic structure. And this is what an actor has to do, if he has to develop as an actor. If he is not in the self-glory that, "Oh, I have done my masterpiece." I don't think I have.
How many shows have you done by now?
380 almost.
380 almost. Wow, very good. In the last 12 years. Have you done direction work also?
No, actually, last direction work which I did was in medical college. After I passed out, I directed one act play. That is the last directorial effort.
Do you have any aspiration to be a director, which most of the actors have after a certain stage? Or do you have some independent ideas, or you visualize certain plays in a different way than Jabbar does, and you would have liked to do that?
One thing what has happened is this kind of thing came only in one play, Sloot, when we were doing, which is basically an actor's play. Sloot basically being an actor's play, there are only 2 actors and they have to sustain. A director is needed to fill up the gaps. That is the time when I realized that there is a difference between an actor's play and a director's play. Gashiram, I would still say, is a director's play.
Directors, definitely.
Not at all. I do not give credit to myself at all for my role in Gashiram. I think the whole thing makes me very beautiful in Gashiram. It's not my credit at all. If it was not the way it was designed, I would be nowhere in Gashiram. The way my entry is focused, the way the whole choreography comes to an end still, frozen, and I take my own sweet ministerial time to enter. The whole way it is uplifted has given total boost to my role, and the credit is directors. The only thing what I have done is be loyal to him. And I have tried to give him the correct pitch of voice, the correct movement, the gestures which he wanted from me. But in a play like Sloot, I do remember, which is basically an actor's play, a director may rehearse the play for 4 months and still it could be a bad show if the actor is bad. So on theatre, I always feel that generally, leaving these exceptions, like Chandas-Chor or Gashiram or Haivadan, which are definitely directors' productions, but otherwise most of our theatre plays, actors' team has to be good. A combination of bad actors and a good director cannot give a good performance. Whereas sometimes a bad director and good actors can put life
into the play.
into the play.
That's
So it's
very
basically an actor's play. As I started acting in films in 1975, there I realized that it's totally director's movie.
totally different.
Totally director's. Unless some makes films like Hindi commercial where the camera is fixed onto a person and he is given the total freedom to do whatever he wants. But a film where the actor dominates can also be made, but that is not what I consider as a film. Right. So I
In the
never
film
had any inclination to direct a play, to tell you the truth. But after I started working in film for the last 3-4 years, I started having an idea that I have a particular thing to say which should be said in the film.
Acha. So maybe that in future you decide to direct a film.
Probably, at least, make a film. I wouldn't say direct.
But make a film. Good, very good. Now, so that means in the last about say 12-13 years,
Yes.
you have done about 6-7 plays. And of course, Ghashiram has kept you people busy most.
Oh, yes.
Always. And so
Yeah,
you
this
are-
kind of role could be barring, could be very destructive to one's career if it comes too early in your career. Now, if it comes after 10 years of your struggle, then you feel that, look, all my 10 years what I have done, today one gets a kind of satisfaction. Now, this coming too early masks whatever you do in 10 years, in 12 years. So, 2-3 years ago, I had serious thoughts that I should completely stop doing theatre. I suddenly lost interest. I said, no, at least I should stop doing theatre for 5-6 years as long as those people are here who would still remember Ghashiram. I want them to forget Ghashiram and especially me in Ghashiram.
But you must. This will be quite difficult.
No, I don't think it would be difficult. It would be difficult maybe to begin with. See, this is again a very situation very much Indian. It doesn't exist much in the West. West, the plays go on also for 12 years. But generally, after each year there is a substitute and the substitute is equally good, equally accepted. Right? Or the new version of the same play comes, which is also good. It's different and good.
You see, actually what happens, there are very few plays in our country which run so long. And you may have a need to change the main role.
Yes.
Because after a certain time now, you may be able to act as Nana for another 10-12 years. But if it would have been a young hero, you would have had to
That's more the problem, you know. I can go on playing Nana till really I die.
Yes. So
whereas I have to keep on changing only Lalita Gauri because she needs to be
she needs to be young.
So Jabbar has given me a role for which age is an advantage and not a disadvantage at all.
Yes, that is true.
That's one thing. Second thing also is after having done such a satisfying role, and not only which is satisfying to you for your personal ego, you enjoy the entire production. You enjoy each moment, even when you are in the wings, when you are not on the stage. What's happening there you see, and you like it then. So one likes it so much, to do any other play
becomes very difficult.
Very difficult.
That is another.
So that is what I had started developing. But fortunately, I had another level to entertain myself, was films, and also my interest in theatre and film.
Now, I would definitely like to know that how you are trying to use theatre for your medical purposes.
Well, actually,
and have you been really, have you achieved something, or you are clear about, because you see what happens, that a new thing that often comes as an idea, and when you go to practice it, you find certain practical problems.
I agree with you.
What has been your experience?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, right, as you rightly said, it is an idea. But the genesis of idea has come through certain experiences which I have. And so I want to explore it further. It's like direction also is basically an idea till you realize it. It could be a failure, it could be a success. We can never anticipate. So I must tell you the genesis, why I thought of it. See, as I was doing simultaneously an academic training in psychiatry and working in the wards, I was actively involved also in my theatre group. And there are certain incidents which strikingly appealed to me. For instance, I vividly remember in 74, when I was a simple registrar, an excited manic patient entered the ward. He was actually handcuffed by his relatives, but he managed to break through as he entered the ward. And he was extremely excited, really grandiose. He said, "What is this? Who is there? Hey, doctor, sit down. Come here. This is very ugly. Clean it." And he started ordering, bossing around. Everybody was terror-stricken, not knowing how to handle it. And I, being the registrar, I was thrust with the task that I must handle this patient. So everybody was forced, including myself, the nurse attending, the student nurse, who hardly knows anything. She was like a sparrow, little white sparrow, not knowing what is going to happen. And some of the very expert relatives of other patients who have seen these kind of episodes, who could be of moral support even to doctors. Right? Who suddenly came in front, "You come from there. You hold, just keep quiet. Don't resist him, don't resist him," instructing each other. This led to something what could be called a spontaneous drama. It's a very dramatic situation, because the moment there is a dramatic situation, you get spectators around. And the whole veranda is full of relatives of other patients who are on other beds, watching this unanticipated, unpredicted dramatic event. And it was a great task, and it's a 10 minutes drama to catch hold of such a patient, to tackle him, to make him sit down, to give him the injection which you desire, and to sedate him and put the piece back to the ward. But having done that, though myself was thinking, what was this? If this thing was not to happen in the ward, if it was to happen in the Balgandharva, what is it? It's drama. It's not written by Tendulkar. It's not written by Alekar. It's written by this man, who is the most powerful character in this play, and who determines the roles of other people. Whether I am doctor or not is useless. I can't command him, "Look, I am doctor, you must listen to me," because he can slap me. Because he does not belong to my world. He belongs to a different world. And what happens exactly in a play? The characters which you see on the stage, they are not from your world. It's a separate world which has social approval. When you go to see the theatre, it's make-believe. You are willing to believe even in tamasha that man sitting with a particular wig is king. You know he is your friend, but you know he is a king. Now this is the subtle difference in theatre, which I realized at that instance first. Second thing I realized immediately after that, on the next day of my rounds, I saw a noticeable difference into the behavior of other patients. Who were prone to be excited, suddenly cooled down. This man also, after having gone through this attack, next day, being maniac, became very friendly to other people. Confident, over-talkative kind of thing, and established a sort of atmosphere in the ward of general jovialness, where patients could comment on him, cut jokes about him. So I knew that this kind of an incidence did affect the behavior of patients, their relatives, the nurse, who immediately asked for transfer from that ward.
No, but in that ward there must be very often this type of case.
That's right, very often. But not very often such a dramatic incidents take place, because either the patients are sedated before they are brought or they are handcuffed. they are tied or they are brought by police. All excited patients are generally brought by police. So they are well protected. They are being taken care of by force already. So leading to this spontaneity is lost.
अच्छा, just let us wait change.